Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview spaceholders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Eva Bhardwaj, the spiritual coach and visual artist. Welcome to the show, Eva. How are you doing?
Thank you, Carolina. I'm doing great. How
That's
are
so
you? How are you
so good.
doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good, although I didn't get much sleep today, but I was so excited for this conversation with you today that I woke up, ready to do yoga meditation and just ready to jump on this podcast. So, although I'm tired, I'm not sure if you guys can see my, tired eyes, but this excitement and, happiness that I'm chatting to you right now is just charging me up because we're going to talk about a lot of exciting stuff like dreams and their meanings and so on. So, it's just really something that I would love to dig into. But before we do that, I would love you to share your story because you are an artist, you are a psychic, you do a lot of cool things, you're a medium as well. And I'm curious how you started your journey. Was spirituality always there with you throughout your whole life? Or did you have like a moment where you started to really dig into it and be more interested? Or how was your spiritual journey so far?
Yeah, so my spiritual journey, I would say it started when I was a kid, and I had been always a very creative person. And I used to live with my grandmother. So she would do yoga and puja and rituals, and I would watch her. And I was even like born at the same place where she was at that time. And yeah, I would see her doing all of that, and I would learn from her. But then the trigger point for the spiritual journey, it came like 9 years ago. And that was not only one experience, but there were like lots of experiences, like relationship with people and meeting people and friends and financial experiences. And yeah, even the matriarchs in my life have been so supportive of this. And then there was also sexual experiences and experiences with psychedelics. So yeah, all of this contribute to the person, the journey which is now going on is like they are like connecting dots that is more and more opening to the person that I am becoming.
Beautiful. And so you had experiences with everything because you're from India. So I guess the culture in India itself is just bringing out the spirituality in everyone, right? Because it's such a sacred country in a way. Like I know people who travel to India, they're like, oh my God, it's such a transformative journey to even be there and just to be surrounded with so many people who are very much connected to their soul, very much connected to their spirit in a pure way. And of course, probably not everyone, but it's a very, very deep culture of spirituality, I think. So you are lucky.
Yes, I say that. I feel that I am lucky to be born, to be raised up in India.
Beautiful. And I'm curious to know, like, what kind of experience of all these experiences that you mentioned did you find the most transformative? Because you said you had psychedelic substances and some, situations in life that were really kind of like bringing you to more and more to who you truly are. So, what was the most transformative thing that have happened for you that you're happy to share, of course?
Well, there have been like lots of them. And even if I name one of them, that will be unfair to the other experiences. So,
Okay, what about top
yeah.
three? I'm super curious.
Okay, so, well, top three. Well, that would include traveling, and then also my grandmother, because she passed away. And when she passed away, it was like she opened me to more of the being that she was, the spiritual, and the more like, somebody who sees good in everything.
Beautiful.
And yes, and there were also some traumatic experiences with men. So yeah, all of that, it counts to this.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you chose to be a psychic and a medium and a coach to help people go out of their stuff as you healed, right? So it's always like that. We're healing so that we can then help other people heal as well. So let's get to the dreams, right? Because this is our main theme for today, dreams and the meaning of dreams. And first of all, maybe like let's talk about what dream really is. What do you feel like it represents for us, and how does it even work that we are, you know, let's say conscious in the state that like we are kind of conscious but kind of unconscious because we remember only a tiny bit of our dreams, right? We don't even remember all of it. So I'm super curious to know, how do you see dreams?
Okay, so the way I refer to dreams are like a soul journey. They are more like, hey, this stuff you've been hiding from yourself, and now it's become unconscious. It's because your ego was too strong that you cannot deal with it in a conscious level, so it got pressed in the unconscious. And yes, I am here to show you that and open up to you and open that experience to you that needs to be embodied. So that is more like a soul journey. And this journey is not only limited to just one this own body experience, but like many bodies from the past lives. So this has like the unconscious holds the key to lots of patterns that have been encoded. And yes, and the dreams are more like the center where the matter and the spirit they meet. So it can be perceived in a way that opposites like ups and downs, they come to this one point, and they are the dreams that show to us in a very acausal way that, okay, you've been trying to make sense out of this, but eventually they were more like synchronicities, because a lot of times we see that dreams are like prophetic, like they are not making any sense, but they are like a prophecy that something is going to happen or something is happening right now that you're not aware of, but the soul is because it's an interconnected energy. So it's bringing to us that image to making us more prepared and more ready.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty interesting that you say that, because I found that some of the dreams that I've had were more, as you said, showing me the unconscious patterns and something that is there to heal. And some of them were more preparing me for something that will come. So one of them is kind of like showing, okay, there is something to heal. There's an area that you still haven't worked through. But also there could be symbolic dreams that is like, okay, get ready for this. And actually, it's so interesting that you mentioned some trauma with men, because when it comes to dreams and trauma, I haven't shared this information, I think, on the podcast yet, but it just feels relevant for me to share right now, because I've had an experience where me and my friend, we kind of like traumatized each other sexually in a light way, let's say, years ago. And actually, like, I've had sexual dreams with him for years, like from time to time, just coming up, just randomly, you know, like even though I would have a partner, or even though I would be happy in my relationships, these dreams would come up. And I knew that, for example, when you have some kind of like sexual fetish or sexual urge, it usually stems from the trauma, from childhood experience, right? Like, for example, you know,
Yes.
the fetish for feet is when your mom like didn't really pick you up, and all you could see is your mom's feet, and then like you really associate feet with connection, so then you have a foot fetish, right? Or something like that. Or I knew that, or for example, if you, I don't know, if you want to be submissive, then you kind of like to let go of control because you had to be in control, and so on. So I knew that it's like, intellectually I knew that it's linked to that, but I only stopped having these dreams when I released all these emotions, all this resentment, all this sadness, and how I was treated badly by this person, because we had like a cleansing ceremony. And after I expressed it all, like how bad I felt, years ago, it was like, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. I just stopped having these dreams. And it's not like I don't have the same feeling towards him anymore, because it was just my unconscious mind showing me, hey, there is something to heal in here, and my unconscious mind in my dreams tried to make up for it and heal. And healing is the experience of opposite, right? So if I had a, let's say, bad sexual experience with him, my consciousness was showing me a good sexual experience with him, so that it's kind of like making up for it and trying to heal in dreams, in a way. So I found that for me it was an indication, okay, there is something there to heal. And once I healed, it's just gone, it's just not appearing anymore. So I think it's really interesting how we can see if something is showing up in the dreams over and over and over again. Is just really nice to look there and see, okay, why is this happening? Like, what is the reason? Because, like, I didn't really want to have these dreams. Like, I just want to be friends, I didn't really intend to have them or anything like that. And I'm really glad that now I've healed it all. But also, that brings me to the next question, because how do you know if it's something unconscious that is coming to the surface, that is something that maybe is indication for you to heal, versus if it's something like a prophecy, like something that will happen, right? Because I could interpret it as, oh, maybe I'm supposed to have a sexual experience with this person, and maybe it's going to happen in the future. Maybe it's my consciousness showing me what the future will bring, right? It's up to my interpretation, how I see it. So how would you discern between these two dreams, let's say?
Okay, so if we are experiencing like having an affair with a man that is like, yeah, or man or men, then this could be more of the way of the soul to tell us that our inner masculine needs to be loved, and this is the masculine that needs more of encouragement and more opening to, and not to concretize the affair, not to literally have the affair, but to have the affair, to imagine ourselves having the affair with our own masculine version. And yes, and this kind of affair, because what happens is that if we literally have the affair after this dream, if we say that, okay, I'm going to have the affair, then this happens again, because then we create it more like a passion that is acted out and that is not integrated or embodied. So the dream will keep on repeating again, that will become a pattern, and I will see different men, or I will see myself in some other way, and that also becomes forced down if we keep on acting it out rather than embodying that experience. And yeah, about the prophecy, so prophecy is more like something that happens, that has to happen at some time in the now. So all the dreams in some way are prophetic, because they are like the energy that is required to be integrated in the moment that is about to occur.
Okay, that makes sense. And can you elaborate and explain it a little more?
Okay, so if we are, suppose if we are dreaming about say something bad is about to happen, or if we have like a dream in which we are watching that male or female figure is hurt, and that figure needs some care, some nurturing, and that figure is more like a person that we know in our real lives. And this could mean two ways: either that person is going to physically be wounded, or that person is psychically is dealing with something, or this is our own reflection, our own part that needs to be cared about and accepted and open to.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really interesting. And are there any specific symbols in the dreams that you found that are showing up and they mean a specific thing for us? Like, for example, if I see a cat in my dream, then usually it means like a specific thing. Or did you find that there are symbols that are repeatedly meaningful in a similar or the same way?
Yes, like let's take cats, for example. So cats are more like feminine creatures. So we are seeing cats. Cats are also, if we associate them, cats are related to the goddess Bastet from Egypt. So that is the way of the goddess to tell you to integrate her and to open to her. But of course, they also come along with some causal factors, like the cause that led to the occurring of that animal in that specific space. So the cause behind the occurrence of the animal suggests where the feminine energy wants to go, or where it needs to be open to. And not only
Okay.
cats, but goddesses occur in like a lot of ways in dreams. They, for men they see like some dark scary figures, and they see like a woman who is old and ugly, and they're running from her, and that kind of scares them. And then that's what's the thing that needs to be acknowledged, and that's something that needs to be more like a friend to, and not be scared of, because that feminine, that dark figure is actually a bridge to the own self of the dreamer.
Okay, that's really really interesting. And so you don't only look at the symbols that occur in the dream, but also you look at how you feel about them, right? Because then you can really see,
Yes.
okay, this is an aspect of me that I'm scared of. This is an aspect of me that I need to integrate, or maybe that I need to hug and give it love, or things like that. And so, are all the animals symbolizing something in the dream?
Yes, they do. And yeah, for example, now I will talk about a crocodile. See, if we were to like go from a path, and we see we have to cross a lake, and that lake has a crocodile inside, but we have to go forward. And in order to go forward, we have to face that crocodile. So that's where the fear steps in, and that's the symbol of like, yeah, this specific energy, this fear needs to be integrated, like shadow work, like we need to open up to our shadow self and to work with it in an alignment, so that we can open up and move forward. And the symbols could also be like a snake. A snake symbolizes that there is the energy force that is if there is a coiled snake, the energy is repressed more in the lower chakras of the body, like the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus chakra. So these chakras are the ones that need to be open to. And these chakras can also, like, if the snake is moving up, then the energy is moving up, and it is aligning with the heart chakra, and then the upper three chakras. And so if the snake is coiled, so yeah, that's the chakras that we need to work on. And these chakras are more like the energy of the coiled snake, the kundalini. So there is the symbol of the snake, and then there is the symbol of the crocodile. Like all these animals, they have different instincts and energies in the body.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. And how do you even learn about these symbols? Like, is there any specific school or any specific wisdom that you can gain? Because, like, I can imagine that it's a lot to learn if you want to be a dream interpreter. Like, how do you even learn it?
Yes, for me, it started like I started by experiencing and learning them by writing them. I started writing my dreams, and I see there is a pattern in our dreams that can help us to see, okay, this is the pattern, this is how the perception is working.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where majorly it comes from. But other than that, it's books and my experiences listening to people talking about dreams. And And yes, it's also a part psychology alongside arts that I studied.
Beautiful. And what if you cannot really remember your dreams? Like, what would be your advice to people who are like, yeah, I don't remember any dream that I'm dreaming?
Yeah, it happens with me sometimes. I'm not able to, like, it mostly happens with us when we get high, and it's hard to remember dreams at that time. So in that case, it's better that to keep a journal, to keep a diary. So because the moment we wake up from the dream, we remember that this is the kind of experience that happened. And yes, and when we are stepping out of the waking period, that's when we forget. So it's more like kind of a better time to write about the dreams when we just wake up. Or
So,
other than that, it can also be remembered through meditation. Like that's like an astral chance, a chance that that maybe because that was the experience of the soul. So the soul as the energy, it wants you to remember the energy that we experienced in the dreams, and it will show it to you back again in meditations and in different visuals, sometimes just in daydreaming.
Yeah, because if something is crucial for our soul to remember, then in the meditation we will remember if something is really, really
Yes.
important for us. But also, I feel like, yeah, creating the habit of waking up and writing down your dreams also can make your consciousness be like, okay, we are writing dreams, so we need to write it down. So we're going to remember it so that we can write it down. If you just intend for it and if you have a dreaming journal, right, then I would say that your whole consciousness is focused on remembering the dreams because you are like, okay, I intend to remember it, I intend to write it down. So then I would say that probably you're going to remember more and more the more you practice it, right? And the more conscious of your dreams you are.
Yes.
And so do you feel like, first of all, is there a difference if you like lucid dream and you are kind of consciously creating your dream? Because like that's a different thing, right? When you are deciding about what's happening in your dream versus when you are just going with whatever the dream shows you. So I think I'm guessing that these are two different types of dreaming. And we're
Yes.
talking about more when something shows itself to you. But when you don't have the whole context of what happened in your dream, if you just remember a tiny bit, like if something comes to you, like it's just one thing that you remember, like for example, oh, okay, I remember there was a dog in my dream, but I don't remember what happened or where I was or how I felt. Is that still relevant? Or do you feel like in order to get a full picture of the meaning of the dream, you need to remember more vividly and more accurately what happened exactly and what was the context, what was the feeling, and so on?
Okay. So yeah, a lot of times it can be hard to remember each and every aspect of the dream, every bit of the dream. So even if we remember like a little tiny bit of the dream, that works, and that is like a kind of a hint to what we need to work on. So, and the lucid dreaming, well, lucid dreaming is more like conscious dreaming. And well, in common dreams, both the dreams, they are like a manifestation that is occurring in the conscious level. So yeah, even if lucid dreaming, or even if the dreaming on the unconscious body experience, they both are in some way a manifestation, and that occurs like the unconscious dreaming is more like a message from the soul, but the lucid dreaming is more like a witchcraft technique, is more like if we are doing some kind of a ritual, or we are offering something, and we want to manifest something. That is when we begin to lucid dream. And that is when also that we are just like, suppose we are just consciously watching, like we are awake, but the dream is moving in its own flow. So that is the time where we can actually change the stuff in the dream that we want to, and transmute it with something that we would like.
And then have you had experiences when you were lucid dreaming?
Yes, I had it, and yes, these experiences are something that really, really cleanse you, because they're more like an opener to the energy blocks. Because a lot of times we see there are patterns, and these lucid dreaming experiences, they open us to the patterns in which the brain has been functioning on the unconscious level. So that's what is being opened, and that's what is being received, and that's what is being worked on.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting that you say it in this way. And have you tried to fly when you're lucid dreaming? Because I found myself like anytime I get conscious in the dream, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna fly and just explore all these different places that I can go in the dream too.
No.
Did you also try to fly?
Yeah, I did find myself flying when, but that was the time when I was in my other dream period, but not in lucid dreaming.
Yeah, for me, every time I lucid dream, I'm like, okay, I'm dreaming. All right, the clock is not, legit. I'm looking and it's 1 hour. I'm looking and it's completely different hour. Or I'm seeing my body shift. I'm like, okay, I'm dreaming. See ya. I'm just like flying around. It's really really cool. But I feel like I haven't really practiced a lot of practices that enable you to lucid dream. And I know that keeping a dream journal, I guess, is one of the methods as well, and having some tactics to see in the dream like whether you are dreaming or not, that could be useful. But yeah, I would love to come back to this unconscious dreams for a moment. Go back to our topic, because I'm curious to know, what have you found when you were doing dream interpretation? What other symbols that you found that are showing up very often in people's dreams, and that have a specific meaning, that if people listen to this podcast, they could be like, okay, I dreamt of this recently, and now I can understand more where it's coming from. So are there any symbols that are very very frequent in people?
Yes, thank you for asking this question. So, yeah, a lot of dreams I see, because we experience dreams on more like the world soul, the soul of the universe way. So the dreams do have connection, and I see a recurring dream in women that is related to pregnancy, for example, or a child, watching a child in the dream. So this is more like the child, either if well, they make total different meanings. If we are dreaming of pregnancy, then it means that a transformation is coming, or we are opening ourselves or growing, or it could mean that we need to step into our nurturing feminine role. And if the if we are seeing a child that is like a small child that has been abandoned, or a child that we are nurturing or loving, then that means you're on the right path of loving your inner child and embodying that inner child and bringing it back into the awareness. If the child is seen to be like abandoned or thrown somewhere, then that child has been hidden from us, and that child needs to be loved back. And yes, that child needs to be held in our arms in the darkest period where it went into hiding. And other than that, I also see a repetitive pattern in elevators. Elevators occur a lot in dreams, like the elevator going up and down, or there are staircases, the staircases that is going up, or there is some like enchanting earth path that we are walking onto in our dream. So this is more like the chakra energies. If the elevator is going down, again, it's like the serpent energy, it's like the lower three chakras energy. And if the elevator is just moving up and down but not stopping in the center point, that is the heart chakra energy. That's where we need to work on. That's where we need to see the world with through the eyes of the heart.
Interesting. And what about stairs? Is it the same kind of meaning as elevator?
For stairs, in some way, yes. in some way, because stairs are also like we are still in the process. The stair could be like carrying something within you. Either we are going down the stairs flowing naked, or we are carrying something on our back and going upward over the staircase. So staircase is more like that we are opening and we are processing, and yes, it's more like a process.
Interesting. So you found that kids or like pregnancy and elevator and staircase is like very common pattern, right? That's
Yes.
pretty interesting. Are there any other common patterns that you can think of right now that are occurring? Because for me, it's really just I'm really curious, to because next time I'm gonna be dreaming, I'm gonna be like, oh, I will see what Eva has said about it and then try to interpret it.
Yes, well, another common pattern is the one that I mentioned before, that a woman is making love to a man. That is very repetitive. And other than this, there is like watching animals in the dreams. And yes, and I guess I already talked about these repetitive dreams that in our previous conversation, that are recurring in all the people.
And so, what kind of sources do you recommend when it comes to checking the dream symbols? Because I know that there is a lot of online stuff you can see probably, and I'm not
Yes.
sure if all the sources of information are actually legit, like are actually something you can trust. So, what do you use? Do you have any English resource for that, or any specific website that you found? Okay, this is really good description of what this symbolizes.
Oh, for symbolization, it's well, I never really went onto a website to learn about the interpretation of dream. I would recommend more of spiritual books, and the books that do help us on inner working, because these are the books that can actually help us interpreting the symbols that occur in the dreams.
So you mean like shadow work or things like that, right?
Yes, like shadow working, yes. And also even writing down the dream somewhat helps us to, because when we write something, it directly comes from the soul. It's not that we are thinking. If we are writing a dream in the morning, we are not thinking, we're just writing straight away from the soul. So every time we read it, a new meaning comes to us, a new pattern encodes itself.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. It's been really interesting conversation for me, and I'm certainly more encouraged now to pay attention to my dreams and maybe to even write them down, which is great. So thank you so much. And if someone would
Thank
like to
you.
find you and see your content and maybe check out more of what you offer, what is the best way to find you and contact you?
Well, thank you for asking this question. That will be Facebook and Instagram. I have my Facebook, and my Instagram is mostly active. So, yeah, that's where I take on most of my clients. So, Eva Bhardwaj
Okay, perfect.
is my Instagram handle.
So
Yes.
I'm super grateful to you for sharing your time and your energy and your wisdom about dreams with us. I'm really happy that we got to chat. And yeah, if to all who listen, if you want to have your dream interpreted, go and find Eva on Instagram. And thank you so much, Eva, for being with us. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you so much for opening up to this experience of a podcast.
Beautiful.